Sistas bonafide, sisters bonafide, sisters bonafide. I got my sister and me.
Welcome to Sistas Bonafide YouTube channel, everyone. If you are a subscriber here, we thank you so much for joining us again. And if you're new here, my name is Ebony and
Stephanie.
Yes. And we thank you guys so much for participating with us today. Like you said, if you're new here, if you want to, subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit that notification bell so you can know when new content is uploaded. But today we are so super excited to be continuing our social media sisters segment with none other than the wonderful, extremely talented and smart Carinsa Amanda. And Carinsa Amanda is actually the creator of Carinsa Amanda Consulting. And her practice actually focuses on finance education, budgeting, and money management. So Carinsa, thank you so much for joining us. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ebony. And thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, perfect. Yes, exactly. So why don't we start with the basics? Let's start with you telling the audience, about, yourself and, what exactly motivated you to begin, to build out your financial consulting practice.
Yeah. Sure. No problem. So, as Ebony stated, my name is Carinsa Amanda. I am a personal finance coach and consultant. I have always been an advocate for personal finance, especially financial literacy in the Black and Brown communities, especially amongst women. I always grew up knowing that money was important to survive and it was a tool, but I did not know about building wealth. And as I got older, I realized that it is something that you really need in order to not really survive, but to thrive, especially in this world, being a minority. So it drove me to want to help others in need, especially who didn't necessarily grow up learning about money or financial education in their home.
So going based off of that, could you just explain a little bit of what it actually means to be a financial consultant and what financial consulting means, marketing and budgeting?
Sure, yes, definitely. So basically financial consulting and coaching, my version, because there's so many different versions and so many different areas that people can, practice. Right. Mine consists of helping people to learn how to manage their money. So that means learning how to assess your income, knowing what you have coming in, understanding what you have coming out. So that's your expenses and your bills. So that consists of budgeting your money, learning how to manage it as far as having a checking account, a savings account, learning how to decipher your needs from your wants. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing as well as a Master of Business Administration in marketing. And my love for marketing spilled over to personal finance because of the two business units. So when I was in graduate school, finance was a part of the curriculum. Right. And that also just pretty much dove into my love for that, particular business. Finance is everywhere. You learn about math when you're in school in elementary and stuff like that, and they teach you about dollars and cents.
Right.
But they really don't teach you how to use it as far as to better yourself. So that's where I come in as the coach.
Right.
I want people to know that just because you have a certain current situation doesn't mean that should define your future elevation. Meaning, you might not be where you want to be financially right now. You might be in debt, you know what I mean? You might have student loan debt. You might have credit card debt. You might be in a situation where you're not making as much money as you would like, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay that way. There's always a way, there's always an avenue for you to come up and to do better. And that's where the generational wealth comes in. That's you teaching yourself and you teaching your children and your children's children how to better themselves and how to get ahead.
That's right. Amen.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. Because it's like you said, I think it's definitely relevant in our communities that money, that we can't obtain generational wealth and actually save money and actually invest in our futures and in ourselves because of just the stigma that I feel like has been on the Black and Brown community, that we just can't do that. But, you know, having people like you, Corinne, and having so many different resources that we may not be privy to because we're not in that, you know, in that world, it's like, you know, if we're educated on these things, like is what you're providing, I think that will give us a leg up and be able to say, no, we can do this. Like, this isn't impossible. It's just a matter of having, you know, financial literacy and education and having that kind of background. And it's like, I always feel like this, especially with like schools and stuff like that, like they need to do more with financial education.
That needs to be a class, a course. You know, when I was in 12th grade, I don't want to say how many years ago, but when I was in 12th grade, I remember we had half government and half economics. That was how the curriculum was when I was in school. And even though we had half the year of economics, I didn't feel like it was relevant information to help me go out into the world as an 18-year-old. You know what I mean? I didn't really learn about money until I got my first job. And I said, who in the world is FICA? Like, who is these people taking my taxes? Like, taxes. They didn't tell me like, hey, you know, the feds are coming. The feds are going to take a good amount of your little paycheck.
Hello, you know? Exactly.
And I was just like, oh, okay. And then when I opened my first bank account, because I said, wait a minute, so if I go to the check cash in place, they going to take money from me? Like, my money that I worked hard for? I opened my first checking account. I was 18. It was my first job at the Gap. And I quickly learned about banking fees, withdrawal fees. If you don't understand that if you don't go to a particular bank, that is your bank, when you're withdrawing your own money, you will be charged. I learned about interest when I opened a little savings account. I thought something was wrong. I didn't know that, hey, they give you money for keeping money in the bank. I did not know that. I had to understand that and learn that on my own. And although when I grew up, my mom taught me to save my money, to not always spend it, I didn't understand the background of what it really entails to financially manage my money.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if I could just chime in, going back to what you said about generational wealth, to me, especially being a mom, that is like one of the biggest things I think has to change with our generation of people for the next generation. Me, that's something that was not taught in my household at all. Saving money, prioritizing, budgeting, you know, realizing what's important and what's not. And I think that we were left kind of, anybody else in my same situation, we were left kind of, like you said, to figure it out. You know, and there was nobody to set the mold and set the standard, because really financial freedom is a better quality of life.
That's right.
You know, and that's something that I think as a mom, especially, I try to set up. I'm working my best to try to set up for my daughter. Of course, when they get older, they have to work hard. They have to figure it out. But as a parent, and it's up to you to set the mold for them, set the path, you know? So I think that's super important. Another thing I want to say, which I love that you do on your YouTube channel, because if y'all don't know, Corinta has a YouTube channel where you can into all of this. I love that you talk about realistic ways, to me, stress-free ways almost, to get started with saving money, even if it's having like a small goal. You do like the $1 and $5 saving challenge, and you do like the 100 envelope.
Yes.
You know, like you said, there's people in so many financially burdening situations. So that's a great way to get started. You know, I think when people think about finances, it gets overwhelming, because right away you're like, you know, saving for this or saving for that. It's a lot, especially when you have bills. You know, we all have real bills. We're all adults in here. So can you just dive into a little more about those like realistic and stress-free saving starters?
Yes, definitely. So for example, the $1 and $5 savings challenge. So I give myself X amount of dollars each paycheck to spend on things that I need, from my groceries, to gas for my car, to, if I want to get my hair done, my nails done, if I want to do something nice for myself. And I also established something called sinking funds.
Yeah.
So I did this because I realized that I was swiping my debit card, very, very just, I would say, not in the best way. Like,
right.
I will be swiping, and I said, this isn't working for me. I have money, which is great, but I'm mismanaging. It's a misappropriation of my funds. And I wasn't seeing money left in my account the way I would like. So I started the $1 and $5 savings challenge to challenge myself to keep back money. So I went from a card and debit type of a budget to I do all cash. My fixed expenses, like my mortgage, my maintenance, certain things come directly from my checking account. But now I use that cash, and that is the cash that I need to survive for those 2 weeks. So every time I come across a $1 or a $5 bill from my change, from the money I give myself, I put that to the side. I've been doing this since the beginning of January. I'm doing a challenge for 12 months. On the last day of this year, I'm going to see how much money I have left from every $1 and $5 bill from my change that I've came across. Once I have that, I'm going to use that to either put into my savings account, or I'm going to use it to pay a credit card.
Right.
It's a great way to challenge yourself to save for something that's important to you. As far as the 100 envelope, which is another great challenge, is you get 100 envelopes. You label them from number 1 to 100. And for every number that you pick 2 envelopes a week. For every number that you put that amount of money in the envelope. And then once you're done, you end up with $5,050. And you could do that so much that you won't even think about it. You'll just do it. And you'll be amazed that you'll end up with $5,050.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's like Steph, like you said, it's such a simple way to save money without even thinking about it. And, Carissa, you and I, and just for our audience, for this sake, like Carissa and I have known each other for some years now. And, we've had conversations about, money management, especially in recent times. And I'm going to be candid. Like I'm a swiper. I'm swiping all the time with my debit card. I have no kind of self-control when when my PIN number is, put that in. Okay. So I'm always swiping. So it's like and then like you said, Carissa, at the end of, I'm looking at my statement or like on my online banking app, and I'm like, where is this money? Where has this money gone? Like it's like there's no accountability for what I'm doing, and it's like for how I'm spending my money. And I feel like we've had real conversations about that, and you've provided tips. But one thing that I could really say in our conversations is that it's always a judgment-free zone. It makes you want to save, because it's like if you're with a financial expert and they're like telling you what to do and everything like that, you want to feel like as if they're helping you and not looking down on you like, dang, like why are you spending your money like this? You know what I mean? It's always really positive, and that in an environment where I can learn from my mistakes and know it's not the end. Like you can always bounce back from what your financial choices were in the past. And I think that you do an amazing job at that. And I know that you in your videos you mentioned that as well. Like it doesn't matter where you start or what your past was. You can make anew with your finances. So I think that's really encouraging for people like me who just be swiping like right. And I want to mention too, like I know in one of your videos more recently you were doing like a bill exchange where you had like
that was my first one.
Congratulate. Like first of all, I'm like you had like that's a lot of money that you saved up.
And I did little by little. So you and I talked about personally like having an emergency fund and things like that. And, making sure if in the event of any life-changing situation, whether it be through illness or change of career or starting a family or anything like that, you should always have something put aside, whether that be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever you feel comfortable with. Right. Put that aside in a separate savings account that you do not touch, that you can have in the event of a life emergency or change.
Right.
So that is not my problem. My problem, and I see a lot of the problem with my clients, is their money management and spending. And that is why I started doing the YouTube. It was to help me stay accountable. I'm still growing that channel. You know, I'm still growing. I just started out a few months ago, and I'm still learning how YouTube works. But I really just wanted to show people you can start with small amounts of money, because I always thought to save, you had to have making so much money and you had to be at a certain point. And it's just not true. And that's why I said saving $1, saving $5, $20, anything you can, it builds up over time.
Right.
And that's what I try to explain to my clients. Is your money habits and your money management realistically looking at what you have coming in and looking and assessing at what you have going out. And that will help you to build wealth. In addition to that, you have to take the time to learn about investing. And I know that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother subject, but that's also important too. Having an investment account, a retirement account, understanding what the stock market is, understanding, you know, what is it that you're doing to have a better life for you, your family, and generations to come.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Most definitely. Yes, it's true. Something just came to mind, and you know, I think it's very relevant on social media. Like, you see a lot of people having quote unquote side hustles and like things that are helping them to generate income outside of their 9-to-5s. So what is your take on that? Like how you know, in terms of having that as part of like one's way to building wealth and saving money, what is your opinion about that?
So I noticed, especially during what we're going through in this time that we're in, I noticed that side incomes have come up tremendously. And it's funny you say that. I always thought you had to be one or the other. Like, either you had to be a 9-to-5 or whatever your schedule is, or you had to be an entrepreneur, a small business, or have a side income. I didn't know that you could do both at the same time until I actually started myself.
Yeah.
It's all about time management. So as far as side income, me personally, for my clients, I tell them, if you have a side income and it's something that is a passion for you, that you're happy about, that it brings you joy, and that just really makes you feel like you have your purpose in front of you, because, you know, we all have our jobs. We all have our ways to make money and have the income and to survive and to thrive. But at the same time, if you have that passion through your side income, I say go full throttle. As long as it doesn't mentally or emotionally or physically affect, you know, your family, your job, your current job, your income, your career, I say go for it. And I look at it like the money or income that you get from that, I say put it away. Like, if you have your ducks in a row, your credit card is good, you don't have any personal loans, your debt isn't extreme, I say act like you never even got that money.
Yeah.
You know, put that to the side, you know, because you'd be surprised at how much you can really build.
Yeah.
You know, and I would tell them to have like an online savings account. Online savings account tends to pay more money in interest than the regular brick and mortar bank, like a Chase or a Bank of America or TD. If you open an online bank account with the money that you receive from your side income, oh my gosh, you can really thrive. You know?
Wow.
I'd say go for it. I do feel like a lot of these people try to make side incomes look easy. It is not easy.
It's not.
You know?
Right.
They make entrepreneurship look easy. It is not easy. It doesn't come. Social media, as much as I love it, is a big facade. There's a lot of pretenders and there's a lot of envy. And honestly, if we were to take social media away, things would be a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So I say side income is a great thing, and to keep at it as long as it's something that you really like or you're passionate about, or if it's something that you need to do to complement your 9-to-5 of your regular job, I say go for it, because some people use side income as a way to elevate themselves. So it just depends on their personal situation.
Exactly.
So yes, I'm just listening because it's funny because I had recently made a video about like selling things on Mercari. It's not a job, but it is a way to make passive income. And let me tell you something. Everything you said is just registering because I'm doing exactly that. Whatever, I have not touched that. Whatever money that's come in from that source, I'm leaving it there, and it's not money I would normally have, so I'm acting like it's not even there, and it builds up. I tell Ev all the time, like, girl, I'm getting, a little $10 here, a little $5 there, and later, I got me a little savings. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with everything you're saying. What are some pieces of advice you would give someone starting out and looking to save? One thing you said about it being it could be an overwhelming topic is so true.
It is.
Especially right now. I think for a lot of people, finances are just so uncertain. This past year or two have been horrible for so many, and where they were prior 2020 till now may be really different. So what advice can you give to somebody kind of like regenerating where to start, and maybe someone who's in a different predicament than they were just a year ago?
As in maybe like more of a negative one as opposed to positive before the pandemic?
Exactly.
Okay. So I would say don't give up.
Yes.
Even with everything going on right now, there's money out there.
That's right.
The amount of people that I've seen who lost their jobs, some who even quit their jobs because they're calling it the Great Resignation now.
Right.
So even if you are not in the best place as you were prior to the pandemic, I would say stay positive. Don't give up.
Yes.
There are so many things that you can do. There's remote positions now, remote opportunities where you can work from home. All you need is a cell phone and a laptop.
Right.
If it's a situation where you feel like that's too much for you, or hey, you might not have Wi-Fi, do you have a car? Can you do Uber?
That's right.
Can you do Uber Eats? Is there a way where you can start a side hustle of babysitting? There's a lot of people who have childcare issues and would love a good babysitter. Get yourself CPR certified. I feel like that's a great tool to have. If it's a situation where you feel like, okay, you can't do that, can you be a dog walker? Can you help people can you help the elderly? Can you deliver groceries? Like, there's so many things that you can do, even if it doesn't necessarily supplement your previous income. There are things you can do to have money coming in the meantime.
Yes.
And believe it or not, as much as I don't really always think the government is in the best, opportunities for us, I feel like they do have programs out there now for people to help them. So if you need help with your rental income, something's going on with that, I'd say look into that. Google's your friend. That's what I would say.
That's right.
Google and YouTube. I learned so much on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Passive income ideas, side income ideas, go for it, and save as much as you can. Be realistic about your income, be realistic about your expenses, but save what you can. And don't look at anyone else's situation and compare. Do not let your current situation define your future elevation. That's what I would say.
Yes.
Love that. Yes. Yes. It's so true what you said, because it's like, just going back to social media, it can be an amazing resource if you have the right mindset. Because if you're allowing, what you see on social media to, negatively influence how you want to progress, whether it be personally, financially, education-wise, professionally, you will get bogged down with all of that. And it won't allow you to rise up and get out of your current situation. So, what you said about comparing, it's like that's so true, because a lot of us, we see people going on luxury vacations and doing all this all the time, and it's just like, well, wow, like, where is it? Like, what am I doing that's so wrong? Like, and of course, not to degrade them, like, they may have money and may be able to fund these things on their own, but there are things that you don't know that's going on behind the scenes. So that's just the point. So don't compare. You can very well get there when the time is right for you to get there financially. But don't compare. Like it's, this your journey is your journey. You have to trust in the process. You know what I mean? Right. And it's you like we've seen how fast the year can move. It's like from last year to this year, so much has happened. So much you can do so much in a year's time. Corinza, is there anything with Corinza Amanda Consulting that you have that is up and coming that you're excited about?
I just really want to build out my clientele. I'm in the early stages. I started this company, this small company last year. I first started out just by helping people that I knew. I did not charge them. I just started charging late last year because my goal really was to help as many people as I can. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just made it a nonprofit because I didn't really do it for the money. I more so really just want to help my community, especially, like I said, my Black and brown, brothers and sisters, mainly my sisters, because I feel like women, some of us are at a disadvantage for whatever reason. And I feel like money and wealth is a great way for us to elevate ourselves. I don't feel like money should define us, but I feel like it'll help us to live better lives, and as far as what I do have coming up, I have my website in the works. I am working on that. So that's going to be CorinzaAmandaConsulting.com. So look out for that. I do have my Instagram page, which is the same, Corinza Amanda Consulting. And I do have my personal YouTube page, which is Corinza Amanda, that I do personal finance, cash stuffings, and budgeting videos. So more to come with that. And thank you guys so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting us as well. I want to touch on that. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to do something positive, but also shine light on other women, Black and brown women specifically, who, let's just be real, because we don't always get the spotlight we deserve, especially in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for supporting us from day one as well. Yeah.
You're welcome. I love your channel. Love your channel. Love your social media. Love your images. I'm just in awe of you guys. And I'm still catching up on y'all's videos because I have a lot to catch up on. A lot to catch up on.
But thank you. And overall, the topic of finances could be a stressful one, but that's what you got your girl Corinza here for, right? So hit up Corinza. Not even speaking negatively, but sometimes you can be where you are and need ideas of how to advance and progress. So, for whatever reason you're looking, get your girl Corinza.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And you can email me anytime at CorinzaAmandaConsulting@gmail.com. Like I said, my website is coming soon and my social media page is the same name. So I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Corinza.
Thank you so much, Corinza. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you,
guys.
Bye.
Be safe. Great one.
You too, Corinza. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's official. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Ding. Sistas Bonafide.